Instagram. I hope everybody is having a good Monday. Today's Monday. I should have known that. Today was the first day of school for us. So I hope everybody had a good Monday. I know that some places had difficulty getting their kids started this morning. So I hope that was able to be worked out. I am joining Doc Swiner so that we can chat about all things COVID-19. Hi.
Hey.
Good morning or good afternoon. I can't see your face. How are you?
Oh, I'm probably less scatterbrained than I was Monday, which was our first day a week ago. But how are you doing?
You know what? It wasn't bad. I know that across the state there were some outages with Canvas. And then I got copied on a tweet about it that Durham Public Schools put out. And I've been getting I see how the trolls act online now, because every time somebody responds, because I was a part of that tweet, I see it, and people are just losing their minds. Like, do your damn job. Why am I? People, calm down.
It's like the internet
happen.
Yes, the internet was not ready for all of us to be on at the same time.
They really weren't.
And so, we have to be patient. We have to show each other some grace. The kids will be fine. They'll pick right back up on the internet and get what they, it'll be fine. I know. So I've been watching my friends particularly in Durham County, with all the messages on Facebook and everybody being kind of stressed out. But it's, we'll get through it.
Well,
this is not life or death. This is not life or death.
We are dealing with life or death, but this ain't it.
We are. Thank you.
This ain't it. And as I've been saying to people, how do you feel about the kids learning online? What about, will they learn well? Will they be behind? I'm like, first of all, they'll all be behind, so they'll be equal. And second of all, this is not going to stop them from being able to buy a house when they're adults. My kid is a fourth grader. It'll be fine. He'll still graduate from high school and go on to college, and it'll be fine. So just let it go, people. So I wanted
just breathe.
Just breathe, yes. I wanted
to
get together and talk about the pandemic, because we've had some updates, right? Schools are back in. A lot of schools, some schools don't start until next week. But I was watching a whole bunch of tomfoolery on the news at noon today, and there are people that are going back. My sister sent me a picture of her neighbor's very, very, very adorable little boy, his first day at school with his mask on, going to a Catholic school. I was like, oh, he's so cute. But no.
No, thanks.
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
No, thank you. So
I'll wait.
Yeah.
Julie, with your alma mater is exploding.
Girl.
I was like, every time I look, I'm like, ew.
Girl. Look, and the latest cluster is in my old dorm. I was like, oh, hitting James making me look bad. It's not good. So I jokingly said on the air on Saturday that, with the way things were panning out in colleges, these kids will be home in October. But now I'm like, will it take that long? Will it take that long? Because it's not looking good.
They're going to have to shut it down. Yeah, they're going to have to shut it down probably at least for pieces of time. So as these, so we're talking about UNC, you all in the third or fourth cluster?
It's the fourth cluster. The third on campus housing, and then the other cluster is off campus fraternity house. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are they going to do? I mean, they're going to have to quarantine all these kids, all their contacts. There's going to be nobody in class, so why spend the money to come down and, teach a class that's not going to be full? So you may as well do it virtual. God bless.
It just seems to me that virtual was clearly the way to go, especially in a situation. And this is different from public elementary schools, right? Because these people live together. They live together, Right. So they are legit on top of each other at all times. So It just seems like somebody would have been like, yeah, we're doing different. And I don't understand if UNC did testing for students as they were coming on. I know that Duke did, and I saw something like 3,100 tests issued for positive cases, which is amazing. But I don't know if UNC did mandatory testing before kids went into essentially public housing, because that's what it is.
It's amazing. Yeah, and then you see the pictures of these kids, and God bless them. They've been quarantined for all these months, and they were extra excited to get back to school and see their friends. And, young adults, you remember how you were at 18 to 20. You didn't listen.
We did not.
And you thought you were invincible. And they're just all with each other and partying and standing in congested little groups, and like two people have on masks. And, it's just... It's laughable. It's sad and laughable.
I saw on the news that they broke up a slip and slide party on UNC's campus. I was like, so let me get this right. It's a pandemic. It's a whole pandemic, and y'all just slipping and sliding in water that other people have been.
All kinds of fluids. All fluids. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is where we are.
This is what's going on. So,
and this is where my kids will stay. They're right in there, finishing up right now.
Yeah, mine is upstairs. I was like, yeah, we're going to be right here in the house. And I'm happy to do it. I am happy to do it. So what new things do we need to know? I feel like you posted something the other day that really spoke to me. It made me laugh. It was like a doctor, a scientist, and an epidemiologist walk into a bar. Just kidding. They would never do that.
Psych. Not right now. No,
that would never happen. But I feel like people have really loosened up. I feel like people are just like, yeah, we have to wear masks, but we can do it just any old kind of way because it's fine. And if it weren't fine, it wouldn't be open. So it must be fine, right? So,
it's very confusing. You're absolutely right. The government is opening up stuff. And I know, we're going to talk about gyms in a minute. But yeah, it gives you this false sense of security to just go anywhere that you please. And you certainly see your friends on social media going on trips. Get on the plane.
Listen, today was my child's first day, and the teacher was like, hey, well, why don't we all share something fun that we did this summer? So he's in the dining room. I'm in here on the computer, but I can hear all the kids. We went on a week-long cruise to the Bahamas at the end of March. It was the end of March. Yeah. I was like, weren't we locked down in March? How did that happen? Everybody was like, oh, we got a whole classroom full of avid travelers. This is good to know. No, when they transition back in, my child ain't going, because everybody had like a little story. We didn't have a story, Nicole.
No,
we didn't have a story because we were right here.
We very scarily, if that's a word, if I may do so, we very scarily went to the beach with our masks for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it was like this, like away from people. And I was like, was it even worth it? I don't even know if it was worth it.
We drove all that way to sit on the beach like this.
That was it. I was like, we at the beach, y'all. Okay, let's go home. So God bless them. God bless them. That clearly we think, sounds like they made it. They were fine. They didn't perish, after going on these trips. So thank God. But it's a risk. You are taking a calculated risk. Know that you are risking it if you do any of these things. And if something is not essential and necessary, you are taking a huge risk. So as long as you acknowledge that, then it's all on you.
I saw a story yesterday. I think it was out of Oklahoma, about a high school student who went to school. The first week of school, he had COVID-19. He knew he had COVID-19. His parents knew that he had COVID-19. But once the school system interviewed them, they said they were confused about the end date of the quarantine period. And it made me think, when we send our kids to school or when we go anywhere, right? We are trusting our lives with the people around us. And some of the people around us are idiots, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so I was just thinking about that. It's like, wow, all of these, you know, there are people who are sending their kids to school, but you don't know what this other family is doing. You don't know what these parents are doing. The same with cold and flu season, because we know parents will send their kids to school sick in a heartbeat. So that's kind of something to think about. When we're out and about, I always want to check in with you and see, as a doctor, what is it that you are doing in your day-to-day life that we might want to emulate? How trusting are you of the public? Are you growing grocery shopping? Are you running into Walmart, running into Target to pick stuff up? Are you, you know, have you eaten in a restaurant yet? What are the doctors doing? That's what I want to know.
Okay, full transparency. Yes, I went to Target once for school shopping because I was like, I need to see if my kids are going to fit, you know, because even though they're at home, they wanted a new outfit. And I was like, okay, if that's going to make you feel like this is a brand new day, even though we're still in the same house,
right?
Then that's fine. So we all did, me and the kids did go. We were all masked up. Target, particularly in Durham County and the places that we go, like our local Food Lion, you know, anytime, I've not been in Food Lion, but my husband has, anytime he goes in there, I usually get a pretty good report that people are following the rules and almost everyone's masked up. Same thing in Target. I don't think I saw one person without a mask.
Okay.
When I went on like last Saturday or something, and everyone was staying away from each other and following walking the right way in the lanes and all that. So I felt comfortable. And so as soon as we got back in the car, we sanitized. As soon as we got home, it was like evening time. So it was time to take your bath and change your clothes. And we did all that. So I have done that once. Do I normally go and make weekly grocery runs? No, I still Instacart. I have gone to a restaurant once. I did not go inside. I sat outside, and about 5 of my friends who are part of what I call my trusted pod, my bubble, went together. Everyone had masks.
Okay.
So that was my one. I took a risk, but it was, we said, okay, we got to have a girls' day. School's going to start. This is what we want to do. And so, again, with my trusted people that I've been with, and most of us have been tested at some point and doing all the right things. We went out, sat outside. It was 6 feet apart from the next table. Everyone had a mask until we were eating, and I felt safe.
Let's talk about the eating thing, because everybody has to take their mask off to eat and drink. How does that work?
You have to do it. I mean, either you go and you sit there with your mask on the whole time, or you do it. I mean, I felt fairly comfortable. The waiter had on mask and gloves. He gave us everything that was packaged, so nothing was open. Like all the silverware was plastic and packaged. The straws were packaged. I wiped the rim of my glass. I said my grace. and it was fine.
Right.
Yeah. But we were definitely outside. I was not going inside anywhere. I was not going to sit next to some other table with people without masks. I wasn't going to do that.
Okay. All right. That is good to know. What else do we need to know right now? What has changed? I saw something about how our numbers are trending downward. That's good.
That's good, right? Yeah. So particularly in the hospitals, the numbers are trending down, which is great, which either means less of us are getting sick, or it means that more of us are being treated as outpatients. I did at least a week or two ago have about 5 patients that were test positive, but were either asymptomatic and just had to quarantine just because that was the rule, or had very mild symptoms. I only had one to end up in the hospital, and she's back home.
Okay,
thank God. So, most people are being treated at home, and we're taking, there are some vitamins and supplements that are supposed to be helpful for cutting down on symptoms, like lots of zinc, lots of vitamin D, melatonin for sleep on your stomach. There are these things that a lot of the doctors are following now and telling their people to do at home if we're treating them at home. So I take that as a good sign. I've actually had some research companies reach out to me to talk about helping to recruit minority folks for vaccine trials. We'll see. I'm reading all the data. I'm going to read it. I'm going to critique it. I'm going to ask all the questions because I'm not going to put my name and face on something that sounds fishy or feels, suspicious. So I have two companies in particular, two big companies that are doing huge trials. And the problem is they don't have enough minority people signing up for it for, kind of clear reasons. There's some distrust with the system. So I'm reading through those. So yes, a weekend girl's name.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Let me read it. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna comb through it. I'm gonna ask all the right questions. I'm gonna see what they're talking about, and then I'll report back. I'll let you know about what's happening and if I feel like it's something that I would sign up for.
Okay.
I will say a lot of my colleagues that I have some Black and brown colleagues that have volunteered for vaccine trials. They have volunteered to be one of the guinea pigs in these studies. So it's happening. It's being done. They're testing, and it's coming. So vaccines are coming. Whether or not you trust them is, we'll see.
Which is a whole different thing because it's like, okay, let's say we go through all of the trials and everything, and it is determined that this vaccine is safe for public consumption. We got to get the public to consumption it.
Will they take it?
Because and I was reading something the other day that said, what happens when a large majority of the people are refusing to take the vaccine? Will we have to ban people from work and from school until they do, which is going to be like a whole different thing. So it's not like, we're looking at March, this could be over, right? Like, let's say by March we have a vaccine, but that does not mean by April we're all like planning to go to the beach again, because we still gonna have to deal with all the people that are like, I ain't taking that, I'm not doing it, I don't trust it,
Or religious people, a lot of people don't do vaccines because of religious exemption, and so they have their right to decline those vaccines. I mean, I will say, and from talking to my colleagues and seeing their interest in it, I feel like at least some of us will get it. Some people will get it, and that will help a little bit with herd immunity, if you've heard of that term before, and that will decrease the numbers a bit. So I'm still fairly optimistic, even if, only 30-40% of us get it. At least that's some versus none. And at least some of us will be protected, particularly those who are exposed to it a lot, the essential workers. So I don't know. We'll see. So I have my hands on some data, and I gotta read through it and really comb through it, and then I'll let you know what I find.
Now, I hear a lot about European countries trying to rely on herd immunity, and it's my understanding that the herd immunity that we have against like strains of the flu have come from generations and generations of exposure to it, not months of exposure to it. So how long does it take for herd immunity to even really develop?
That's a good question. So they think that once someone, specifically about coronavirus, they think that once you've had it, that you remain immune theoretically for about 3 to 4 months, which is why there is a booster shot being also developed. So you'll at least have to get 2 shots for the coronavirus the coronavirus vaccine to be fully effective. So that's a good question. We don't know. And I think it depends on what vaccine you're talking about. And it probably all depends on how long they can detect those antibodies in your bloodstream after you get it. We'll see.
Yeah, my son was asking me this morning after he got off of his Google Meet, Mommy, when are things going to start to open up? And I was like, baby, nobody really knows. And he was like, okay, but when do you think things are going to start to open up? And I was like, I really feel like we're going to be sitting in a very similar situation a year from now. And he was like, a year from now? And I was like, I know, it's really sad.
Have y'all been anywhere? Have you taken him anywhere?
You mean other than just out and about here? We do go, like, while I am doing radio from home, occasionally we go up to the station. There's basically nobody there. I see Brian Dawson in passing, like through the studio glass. That's about it. I see Melissa Wade and Jody Berry, but really there's nobody in our building at all.
Yeah.
So when we go there, I feel like, okay, we're all wearing masks. I take him, I put him in my office, I close the door, I run, sanitize the studio, do what I got to do, grab him, and we leave. But that's about it. we haven't really been anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
He got his hair cut, right?
He did. That was not me. That was. That was not
he's
me.
okay. He's okay.
He's okay. He's okay, but there, I have mommy moments like, when you open the door, it's like, oh gosh, you've been gone all weekend. Where's your hair? Oh my God, you went to the barbershop.
Nobody told me.
Nobody told me. And then he'll be in the house 30 minutes and sneeze. And I'm like, oh Jesus, it's happening. Oh God, do I have a sore throat? What's happening? It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, girl. It's a whole thing.
I know.
So my sister, I had a question that I sent to you, and she lives in a different state. And she's concerned about being able to go back to her Orange Theory, which I guess has reopened or is reopening. It's at 50% capacity, so I guess it's usually 48 people. It's going to be 24 people. That's math, which is why I majored in journalism. It's going to be like 24 people, masks during transitioning in and out of the studio. And I don't know if you're familiar with Orange Theory, but it's like a small studio space. Yeah, and it's like circuit. It's like treadmills and then row machines and then free weights. So she wanted me to ask you, they will not be required to wear masks during the actual workouts. I haven't finished, Nicole. Don't make those faces. Don't make that face yet. I hadn't finished. They will not be required to wear masks during their workout, but she was wondering if she goes back and she wears a mask, is that okay? So I told her I would ask. I already know what you're gonna say, but let's just go through this so that we can.
All right, let's talk through it.
Let's talk it through so we can adequately answer Kimberly's question.
So the first question is it essential and necessary?
Okay.
Is it essential and necessary? Will your sister feel like she cannot breathe if she does not go to Orange Theory and her life will end? Is the first question.
Okay.
If it's no, don't do it. If it's no, don't do it. I mean, there's a risk you take every time you leave your house with any of this stuff. So the fact that you are now leaving your environment, going into another environment where many other people have been and touched and sweat has dripped and people have breathed and coughed and sneezed, there's a risk. Okay. That's number one. If she absolutely had to, okay, so let's say she worked at the gym and she was required to go and had to be there. And I'm thinking about kind of getting involved in in helping people reopen. So I'm trying to work through the protocol myself to help people that, to say, okay, well, these things need to be in order so that your people can feel safe.
Okay.
So checking temperature really isn't all that accurate because you could be catching somebody the day before they become feverish, but they're checking temperatures. Everybody needs to be masked. Everybody. That means during class, while you're walking in the bathroom, the staff, etc., everybody needs to be masked. When you leave these pieces of equipment, it needs to be sanitized, and you should wait before the next person gets on it. 15 to 30 minutes. How possible is that during circuit training? I don't think it is. But you need to be sanitizing things and then leaving it to dry. And those are kind of the big things. And if you can't control those things, you have to have control over those factors. If you can't control those, your risk is very, very, very high. I wish at least everyone was required to wear a mask.
During class.
During class. Yeah. You're breathing and coughing and spitting. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if you're not wearing a mask, let's say you having a mask, but the person talking to you does not, and they are infected, your possibility of becoming infected is up to 75%. Okay? If they have on a mask, they're infected, and they cough on you, and let's say you do have on a mask, the risk goes down to 2 to 5%. So if everybody wore a mask, period, that would take care of a lot of the risk.
So let's talk about the masking for a second, because I think you kind of answered Kimberly's question. Is it essential? And are people going to have on masks the entire time? And are the machines going to be sanitized and left to sit for 15 minutes before somebody else touches it?
At least. Most would say 30.
30, okay. So let's talk about the masking, because I think that it is my...
and it depends on the mask and if they're wearing the mask correctly. I forgot to say that. Did I answer the question?
You and all these caveats. Just caveat. So,
with masks like this.
Mask, I know, right? Are there masks like this? With the masking, it's my understanding from all that I heard when everything started out, like the mask is basically helping you keep the germs to yourself. The mask is not necessarily protecting you from everybody else's germs. So the goal for everybody to wear a mask is to keep your germs to yourself. Yes. So just
now
because
there is some protection.
Okay.
There's some protection if someone coughs on you.
Right.
But the primary reason is for you to not spread it unknowingly to someone else.
So just because you have on a mask in a crowded room full of people who are not wearing masks does not mean that you are safe.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to emphasize that because I've heard and seen and read a lot of things, because there's all kinds of silliness online. And I'm like, but no, I don't think it's okay to just be around a whole bunch of people, even though you got on a mask, because it's not enough.
Not okay. Mm-mm.
Yesterday, Pumpkin and I went to the grocery store near my house, and I had to get out of line and go find a manager, because I was like, I didn't go full Karen.
You were that Karen?
I didn't go full Karen.
You were that Karen.
I did not do anything worthy of making it online. But I was like, yo, we are in the self-checkout at Harris Teeter, and they had every self-checkout station open. So it's 3 on one side, 3 on the other, and everybody had a person with them. It was like the buddy system. So everybody was like at the so there were like all these people at the self-checkout, and then all these people scrunched up in line trying to get into the self-checkout. And then the line, the cashier right beside self-checkout was open, and she was slow, and she had a whole bunch of people. And then the cashier right beside her was slow and had a bunch. So then there was this bottleneck of people, and I just stood back with my son, and I looked at it, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable being here. It was too much, even though everybody had on a mask. So I went to management, and I was like, do you all not see this? Do you not see? Why can't you? Then I started offering suggestions. What you need to do is open up other lanes. Why do you have this lane open and this one right beside it and this one? When you have 9 lanes, I ain't never seen 9 lanes open before. Why don't you spread them out? And the guy was like, oh, yeah, okay. But so it just feels like we're still not safe just because we have on masks.
Every time you leave your house, risk.
Okay. Every time we leave the house,
every time.
Risk. What new things do we need to know?
That we all need to vote.
Amen. Amen. And
vote,
amen.
People. Vote. Vote. Early vote.
Please make a plan to vote, even if you decide to go absentee. The deadline for requesting an absentee ballot in North Carolina is 5 p.m. on October 27th. The Postal Service is now saying, and election officials, that that's not enough time to turn around your ballot. There's no guarantee that if you request a ballot on October 27th, that you will get it in time to vote. If you want an absentee ballot, get it right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
I initially thought I was going to do absentee because I was freaked out about Corona, but knowing where I live and knowing my polling site and knowing that we never really get a whole bunch of people at one time, I'm choosing to early vote. And we're going to go on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, kind of mid-morning. So not right in the beginning when they open, not at lunchtime, but kind of right in the middle. And we're going to wear a mask, of course, but I'm going to do that. I'm not going to trust the Postal Service. I mean, God bless them. They're trying their best, but...
I was with you. I was going to do absentee as well, but where I live, my polling location is very, very low key, and I think it's going to be really, really easy to get in and out quickly without encountering a lot of people. So I'm going to vote early as well. You saw Chris's question. So
I don't know. So steam, I guess you're wondering maybe if heat will kill the virus. We initially thought that was the case, that heat would kill the virus, but there's no evidence that that's true. So I wouldn't necessarily feel more comfortable if they steamed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, just stay away. Stay away from the gyms. Basically,
I've been meeting with my personal trainer 3 times a week virtually. Mm-hmm. Or if there's a way that if your trainer has their own space, mm-hmm. Their basement, they can come to you outside with equipment and y'all can do stuff, then do it that way. But I wouldn't meet up with a group personally. Mm-hmm. I would not meet up with a group inside sharing equipment without a mask. I wouldn't do that.
Would you meet up with a group outside?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Outside, socially distanced with masks, not sharing equipment.
Okay.
There have been like yoga classes and dance classes outside and stuff, and I think that's great.
Okay. All right. Well, this is cool. Well, we don't have to ask about school this time around because we already know what you're doing with school.
We're in school.
Listen, I want to know whatever the doctors are doing. That's what I want to do. Yeah, you're there. They are in the room right now. You do not trust sending them back. Well, good. I'm glad that the state is trending downward. That is good.
That is good.
Just because you're tired of it does not mean that it is tired of us.
I love that song.
I see her little face every time. I think that. Yeah. Going in and out slowly. Is there anything else that we should know other than make a plan to vote early? If you're going to do absentee, request your ballot right now and get it back ASAP.
Yes.
Because that's where we are right now.
Yeah. Oh, Ricardo, we answered that question earlier. I was saying that I did go once outside to a restaurant with 5 ladies of my trusted pod. Outside, socially distanced, we all had on masks. If you do that occasionally for a short time, that's less risky than going inside a restaurant building, no masks, and with 30 people at a table. But no, those. I think we covered most of the new things. I'm going to report back. Give me like 1 or 2 weeks to look at these 2 studies being sent to me by 2 big companies about vaccine trials, and I'll give you the scoop on what's happening with that and whether I think it's, quote, safe for minority folks to volunteer for these shots. And we'll see what happens. But keep up the good work, y'all. I'm actually pretty pleased. Keep up the good work. Wear those masks, socially distance, wash your hands, keep your kids safe.
Keep your kids safe. And, as you said, you are not doing it like, you're not out there like that. You're not running a Target. You're not running a Walmart. You're not going to the store all the time. You're just having delivered what you can have delivered, or having Rick go out and get stuff. And you're just not everywhere. And to remember that we are not 100% safe just because we have on a mask. So that does not mean that we spend Saturday afternoon like hopping from Ross to TJ Maxx and then going to the mall and then going out to lunch and then not there yet.
What can you control? So every environment that I'm in, I feel like I have control. So we have a tutor. I got her tested. They have a dance teacher that comes once a week. She got tested. My hairdresser got tested. My massage therapist got tested. We mask up. So every situation I'm in, I feel like I have primary control of that situation. You going to the beach, you going to a restaurant inside with 30 of your friends, you do not have control over that environment and that situation. So just be smart.
How do we get Doc Swiner privilege to where we can test all of the people? I'm like, mm-hmm. I'm sitting there thinking like I've got Pumpkin in tennis lessons because I was trying to get him in a sport where he didn't have to come in contact with people. Do I need to send his tennis coach to you to get tested, or are we good?
Listen, use your privilege. You have privilege. You have privilege. You know people.
Oh,
yes.
Lord.
You can ask. You can request. You can ask. You can ask your massage therapist, hey, have you been tested, or would you mind getting tested? I got tested. Would you mind? You can ask. You can ask and you can delay.
Now, I know that there have been a lot of people that have been talking about having the kids like kind of work together. Maybe there are 5 or 6 kids that are meeting at one house. How do you feel about that? if they don't have Doc Swiner privilege to get tested?
I would get tested.
Okay.
No, yes, I have a couple of friends that are looking into that. I'm not into that yet. We're maybe for dance. We may do that later, and it probably will be in an outside space. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, hey guys, I'm going to ask all the questions. Have you been exposed to anybody? Where have you been in the last 2 to 4 weeks? Were you positive at one point, etc.? Would you be willing to get tested? Let's all start from scratch. So let's all decide we're going to get tested at one point, and let's all set the rules. So nobody's traveling out of the state. If you do, then we need to quarantine from you for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. You get to set your own rules. And if you can start you can press the reset button and say, okay, on this date, we're all getting tested and we're going to try to do these things at the same time, then that's trying to eliminate as much risk as possible. Having a newborn out with a covering over the baby or car seat. It depends on where you're going, Victoria. Where are you having the newborn out at? Mm-hmm. Are you outside or are you at church? So it all depends.
What was I going to ask you? Oh, when you said that you brought a tutor in to help with the girls and you got the tutor tested, when you have somebody coming into your house, how often would you recommend that they be tested? Are you test her once every 2 weeks or once a month? How does that work?
Yeah, so every 2 to 3 weeks or so is what I'm planning, because that's how often I've been getting tested, because I'm in contact with potentially sick people every day.
Okay.
Or if, for instance, she's like, hey, by the way, I got a family reunion or I'm going here and there, to do something. I'm like, okay, well, in a couple of days, we need to get tested and you need to make sure you're wearing your mask. So everybody masks up. Mm-hmm. Either we quarantine or everyone masks up when you're here until we get tested again.
Victoria said doctor's appointment with the newborn or the store or outside.
So if it's your doctor's appointment, I would try to leave the baby with, a relative and not take the baby inside a hospital setting or clinic setting because that's germs. Outside, I think as long as you're not around a whole lot of people, you don't necessarily have to cover the baby's seat. In a store, again, if you can leave baby with a relative, that decreases the risk as much as possible. If you put a light covering over their car seat, I think that's fine. We definitely don't want to put masks on babies that are 2-year-old or under, because that's potentially dangerous. But I would, babies' immune systems are not built up like ours are. So if you can leave baby out of a congested environment, then do so. But if you have to take baby, then those are the rules I would use.
Okay. Last testing question. When you say that everybody's getting tested, are we talking about the brain probe test? Are we talking about the antibody test? What kind of testing are you talking about?
You mean the testing that I'm doing?
Yeah.
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
So if we're talking about I've not been exposed that I know of, I don't have symptoms, I'm just curious, the antibody test is fine. Okay. If you know that, you've been to Myrtle Beach, you went on a cruise. Hi, genres. I have a coworker that tested positive. My student's teacher was positive and they're in school. Then or I have symptoms, then the nasal swab is the more accurate test.
You mean the brain probe?
Nasal swab.
Okay.
It doesn't. We now know, and there are swabs that are being developed that don't have to go as far. So I certainly do not go all the way up to the brain. When I do it, I do it probably by here. Okay. And you really only need one nostril. You don't necessarily have to do both. Okay. And I've gotten, accurate testing with that. So it doesn't have to be as bad as it was.
Okay. I have a friend that did drive-through testing, and he said that it was just a Q-tip. He's like, they gave me a regular Q-tip. They told me to go in. I went in.
Yeah, they're doing self-swabs now. They're letting people self-swab at certain locations, yeah.
She said they tickled the brain. She claims they're not doing that anymore, Victoria, but...
you don't have to everywhere.
Okay. I've seen the videos. Oh, yeah. Hi.
What up, Lo?
Well, we couldn't do a call without an appearance from you.
I had to show up, man. I felt like I was doing y'all a disservice by not being here.
Well, listen, you got to give the people what they want, Rick. Okay.
Listen, that's all I'm here to do. That's all I'm gonna do. All right, y'all go
Does
back.
he look cute with his little glasses on?
I
You
got my
cute.
little
Yes.
R&Bs, got little,
I
little
like
R&Bs right here.
I like
Thank
him.
you.
I like him. It's a good look. It makes you look like all like studious and stuff.
Yeah, we know that's not the case.
No, not at all.
No. It's a good front. Just say hi.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, this is good. I'm glad that we got a chance to do this. Hopefully, we can do this
Big
again.
Chris talking about a brain sample. Stop it.
Listen, it seems like a brain sample when you see those videos.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that bad.
I hope that when we do this again in a week or two, that our numbers will continue to be trending downward. I get nervous every time.
I don't know, because UNC Chapel Hill, it seems to be where all the clusters are happening. I don't know.
Right, but did you see that there was a party? They had to break up a party at ECU of 400 people.
That was it. What? They're in A&T too, I think. Wasn't it at T?
That one was I saw at ECU. Did A&T have one too?
These children.
God bless.
Why don't everybody just get somewhere and sit down?
Right?
Can't we just do that? I don't understand are they not watching the news? Like, if you sit down, everybody can go outside.
Right.
I want to go outside right now, and everybody got to stay in the house for 6 more months.
Listen,
Just stay home.
I just want to be able to go to a restaurant, have some appetizers, some
Right,
drinks.
be asked, are you ordering appetizers? Like, here's the drink menu. That's all I want.
I'm dying for someone to take my appetizer order. That's all I want in life right now, and I want to be able to go to a movie.
Well, at the rate we're going, you'll get to do that in probably 2023.
Oh, Jesus.
Layside is right.
Layside. Sit down. If we had sat down in March, it would all be over by now.
Just vote, people. Vote.
Vote. Please vote. Please vote, y'all. Please vote. All right. Thank you, Doc Swiner. I love chatting with you every single time. I love it when hubby makes an appearance. Now that I know that you have a dance instructor coming to the house, the girls are going to have to do a mini recital for us because we cannot let these dance skills go to waste. Like, they got to show them off somewhere. Might as well bring them in too. You know, make it a family affair.
That's right. We'll do it. Something about Twitch. Twitch.tv. Oh, yeah, because when he's DJing, they're usually dancing in the background.
Yeah, I've got my own hype dances from a DJ sets.
Okay, now is that the structured dance instruction that the kids are doing, or are you teaching them all of the old school DC dances?
Mostly the old school DC
It's all
dances.
mostly go-go.
Yeah.
Okay, go-go, all go-go. Okay, all right. That's what I figured. That's what I figured.
But it's good.
Cultural.
It's good. It's ancestral.
No, it's ancestral. You know what? I love you. You're the best. God. Ancestral. I will talk to you again soon, Doc Swiner. Tell everybody where to follow you.
At Doc Swiner on most all social media, and Durham Family Medicine if you need somewhere to get tested.
All right, because apparently she's testing everybody. She's testing the dog catcher, the trash man. Everybody's getting tested by Doc Swiner.
Everybody.
Listen, you out here doing God's work. Keep it up. Keep it up. I love it. We will talk to you again soon. And if you all want to share this video, I'm going to post it on Foxy's Instagram page so that people that I'm going to share it with my sister so that she knows about Orange Theory and all that good stuff. And make sure you share the mask information with someone because it's not just enough to have a mask, people. Wear your mask, but it's not always enough. And you're taking a risk with your life every time you leave the house, according to Doc Swiner.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask and vote.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Bye, girl. I'll talk to you later. Bye.